Hello everyone and welcome to the Half Double Purl Podcast, episode 1. This is a podcast all about knitting and crocheting and just what I'm working on at the moment, books I like, TV shows I'm watching, all that kind of good stuff, just so you can get to know me a bit more. My name is Marissa. I live in North Carolina and I have been crocheting and knitting for about 14 years. I started when I was really young and I've been knitting for about 8 years now. I do crochet more often than I knit, but I'm getting more into knitting sweaters, socks, and all those kinds of good stuff. I am a current full-time graduate student and also have a part-time job on the side of my content creation journey, which has begun over COVID, and I've just recently wanted to put together a more structured form of just chit-chatting with all of you and sharing what I'm making. I so love watching podcasts, so I'm really excited to be able to put my own out there in a more regular fashion. If you've been following me for a while, you've probably seen that I've posted episodes here and there over the last year or two, but nothing's really stuck. But I'm feeling really motivated now on my making journey and just wanting to stick with projects a lot more. I am a serial project starter, so I have tons of beginnings of projects but not as many finished objects as I would like, so I'm hoping that by doing this it helps me to stick with those. And if you have similar problems to me as far as having too many projects and not finishing them enough, then follow along and we will get through them together. So jumping right into it, I'm going to talk about some projects that I have recently finished. And I'm really excited about them. So my first finished object are these socks. So these are DK weight socks, and I will link all the patterns and yarn information down below. They're DK weight socks and I held 2 strands double. This is the Midnight sock pattern and I'll be posting that. It's a free pattern. I got it off of Ravelry, and the yarns that I used for this project are Stroll, fingering weight from We Crochet or Knit Picks, whichever one you prefer. And then I held it together with this kind of almost a hand spun look to it. I'm not sure the color or the brand name of this, but I will be adding it either here on screen or down in the description below. But I made the first sock of this 2 years ago probably. And I loved making it. It was my first sock that I had ever made. I just didn't get around to making the second one until recently. So now I have a pair of socks, which is super exciting. This is only the second pair of socks I've ever made. The first pair that I made was a Christmas gift for my mom year before last. And I made that pair in 2 days right before Christmas. So I know that I can do it. I just have second sock syndrome or something, and I never want to knit the second one. I have so many single socks everywhere. But yeah, that's my first finished object. My second finished object is something I'm really excited to share. I've just recently released the pattern for this, and it is a big Tunisian crochet throw blanket. So if you're not familiar with Tunisian crochet, it's basically I like to think of it as a marriage between knitting and crocheting. So you use a crochet hook, but you're working with live stitches the whole time. And I can insert maybe a clip or a picture of what that looks like if you're not familiar. But I've been working on this throw blanket for a couple of months now. It's pretty large. I can insert a picture of what it looks like kind of all the way spread out, but it's using this really beautiful color changing yarn. Or not color changing, I guess, variegated yarn. It's the Caron Cakes line in the color, it's a Blossom Cakes line from Caron Cakes in the color Tropical Blooms. And it's just so pretty. I love how the colors blend together in Tunisian crochet. It makes variegated yarns a lot easier to work with for me, because a lot of times you can get that weird pooling that happens where all of one color is in one section and you don't get a good mix. But I feel like with Tunisian crochet you definitely get a good mix of those colors, and it's just super pretty. And that pattern is posted. It is called the Blossom Throw pattern. It is free and available on my blog, and I'll definitely have the link down below. Super excited about it. I'm working on making a bunch of different variations with different stitches. It's a very basic beginner pattern. If you're new to Tunisian crochet, it would be a great start because you get lots and lots of practice with this stitch. and that is the Tunisian Simple Stitch. I don't know if I mentioned that. But yeah, I love this blanket. It's super cozy. It makes such a dense fabric. It's great. If you haven't tried it, 10 out of 10 recommend Tunisian crocheting. So next up, I want to get into some current projects that I'm working on. Either I've just started them, I'm picking them up after a while. For whatever reason, these are the projects that are on my mind most and that I'm working on the most. It's mostly, I think, all sweaters. So in a sweater phase, the weather is getting a little colder here in North Carolina. It's still staying in that 60-70 range, but hopefully sweater season is just around the corner. So this is my first sweater that I'm working on. It's a crochet sweater. It's a raglan style. So it's worked from the top down, and I've got the whole body done. It's a cropped style sweater, and I'm working on the sleeves now. And this pattern is from a video tutorial by, I believe it's CJ Hooks. I'll have it here. But it's a very basic double crochet sweater, and the yarn I'm using, which I'm absolutely loving, is, I don't have the tag for it, but it is Arcane Fiber Works in the colorway Back to My Roots. Super, super pretty. I love the oranges and the greens and the browns and how they all work together. I am alternating skeins for this project just because I didn't want any big patches of color pooling. But I'm loving it. It's super simple. If you've never made a crochet sweater before, this is a great way to start. All double crochets and a little bit of increasing, and then the collar is just some single crochet ribbing. Super easy, super, super great. The bottom is unfinished. Well, not unfinished, I guess. It doesn't have a ribbing on it, which I kind of like because I find ribbing on crochet sweaters can like be tighter and kind of like chop you in half if you're wearing it like that. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I'm really loving this sweater, and I'm hoping to finish it this coming weekend. I have a long weekend, and I'm hoping to finish it because I don't think it would take very long to get those sleeves done, and then maybe next episode I can be wearing it, which would be really cool because I only have, I think, 2 finished sweaters, and I wear them all the time, but I'd love to have more to wear and to have no reason to buy anymore, which would be the best thing to happen. So next up is another sweater, and this one is actually a knit sweater, and it's really pushing me with my knitting knowledge because it's also a colorwork sweater. This, the original pattern for this is Danish, I believe, and so the name is also Danish, so I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, but I will put it on the screen in a picture of it because I have just the baby beginnings of it right now. So what you do is you do a provisional cast on, and then you start the body of the sweater before you do any of the neck or collar or any of that. So this is what I have so far. Not a whole lot going on yet. I did just start the colorwork section, if you can see that little bit of gold there. The yarn that I'm using for this is Swish DK Weight for the main body color, and I'm pairing that with some hand-dyed tonal yarn from Sorella Yarn. And I'm going to try to remember the names of these colors. I should have brought the tags. But so this is Black Tie. It's all from their Downton Abbey collection from a couple months ago. Black Tie, the Butler and Lord Grantham, I think. Something like that. If you're not familiar with Downton Abbey, it is my favorite show ever. It's a period show that takes place around a family in the early 1900s, 1800 era, and they're aristocrats, and it's just very, very interesting, and I love, love, love it. But these are the 3 colors that I'm working with in this colorwork pattern, and I'm really excited to see all the colors come together. They're very similar to the original colors in the sweater, but I loved the original one. I saw it on Instagram so much, and so I'm really excited to put those all together in this one, hoping to have more of the color work done next time you see it. But that's been really fun to work on, and I've had this yarn in my stash for a while. I love pairing like a more, I guess, budget conscious yarn with hand-dyed yarns, because doing a full sweater with hand-dyed yarn would be like $200+, which is just kind of a lot, you know, which is just a lot for a single sweater. So I like to pair in the Swish because it's very comparable to hand-dyed as far as the texture. It's let's see, it's 100% fine superwash merino wool. So it's almost like the same base, and you can hardly tell a difference between them other than, you know, the color saturation. And there's tons of colors of this. And I am an affiliate for this brand, We Crochet, so I will have that link down below. Don't feel pressure to use it. It doesn't have any extra cost to you. It's just a way to keep supporting my channel. But this is one of my favorite yarns from their company, for sure. I think I have like 2 sweaters quantities worth of this color on retainer, just because I love color work, and that's a great way to, you know, keep the cost down if you want those, to utilize those hand-dyed yarns. So the next project is actually a pattern of my own. I designed a knit cardigan last winter, I believe was when it was, in collaboration with Sardar Yarns, and that was really fun. They had like a whole pattern lookbook throughout the year, and I was able to be a part of that and make this beautiful cardigan. But the cardigan, I actually designed the physical piece. That was a sample for them, so I had to send that back to them, and I hadn't really gotten around to making my own version of the pattern for me to wear. So I'm starting to do that. I never thought about it, and then I was like, oh, maybe I should have a cardigan in my pattern that's mine, you know? So that's what I'm working on right now. This is it so far. So I'm using, the pattern calls for a worsted weight yarn for the main color, and then a Surrey lace or mohair equivalent for the color you hold together. So I'm using, again, some We Crochet yarn, Wool of the Andes, and this is in the color Oyster Heather. And then I'm holding it with this color here, which is also from the Sorella Downton Abbey collection, and it is Tea Time, which is super, super pretty with all the speckles, and it ends up being a very subtle, like pinkish, colorful fabric, which I absolutely love, because it can both be, in my opinion at least, a neutral, but also like bring that like pop of color and kind of personality to an outfit. So I'm really excited to be working on this. I'm hoping to have the back panel and the front panels finished within the next couple of weeks. The way it's constructed is one piece for the body, so it's the back piece, and then the 2 front panels that kind of flip over and get connected down below. And that pattern is still available for purchase on the Sorella site, and once I have my own version of it, I'm gonna like take more pictures and put that on my site as well. But I'm really excited to have my own version of the cardigan because it's so comfortable and just like easy to wear and throw on, but also have that like really nice feel to it, like the luxury feel to it. So I'm really loving that. And that is all. So that is all the current projects that I am actively working on. I have a ton of whips, like I said at the start of the video, but that would take forever to go through all of them, and I'm not really focusing on those. I'm focusing on the ones that I've shown. So now I'll move into more of projects that I'm intending to make soon. Hopefully I finish the projects that I've shown before I start the new ones, but you know, you never know. The yarn calls to you sometimes, so I'll be doing that. And so I'll show you those, and then I'll show you some new yarn that I have acquired. So a new project that I have gotten, or a new set of yarn I've gotten for a specific project, is yarn to make the Shift by Andrea Mowry. And I was traveling a few weekends ago in the mountains of North Carolina, and I came across this yarn shop in Brevard, North Carolina, called Sun Dragon Art and Fiber. And this was the cutest yarn store like ever. I have gone to several throughout the state and a few in different states than North Carolina, but this one just had so much yarn selection. The ladies in there were so nice. I was actually able to talk with the owner. She was there and she was helping me pick out colors, and there were so many samples knit everywhere, and I was like, ooh, what's this one? I want to do this one and this one and this one, and she was able to tell me all of that and help me come up with some yarn combinations. So they had a version of the Shift in there, and the colors were just phenomenal, and I'll post a picture because I did take a picture of it. And I was like, I want that. I want to make that right there. And unfortunately, they didn't have the exact colors that she had used to make that sample, but she helped me find an alternative that I am really excited to get working on. So I'm keeping all of the yarn in this little makeup bag that I've repurposed, and here are the colors. So I'm doing one skein of a variegated kind of hand spun yarn and 2 solid colors. So for the original shift pattern, it calls for three skeins of the variegated hand spun yarn, but the pattern or the sample that I saw didn't have 3 variegateds. It had 1 and then the 2 solids, and I loved it. I loved how it looked, and I always struggle so much when I get a variegated yarn like this because I'm like, what do I put with it? What kind of project has to be the perfect project? And so I grabbed this skein of yarn, which is absolutely beautiful. It's hand spun out of Michigan, I believe, and I have the brand here. So it's from Feederbrook Farms, and this is the color Heat, and it's their DK line. They have a flock of blue-faced Leicester sheep, and they get the wool from the sheep, they dye the wool, and then they spin it all right on the property, which is so incredible. That's amazing. I want to be able to do that. That sounds so, so cool. But here's that label again and the yarn with it. Super, super pretty. The owner was telling me how when she gets a shipment in, it sells out really quickly, so she's not always able to update the site, but I'll definitely be adding their site up because it was, again, the cutest yarn store. I really had a good time, and she helps me pick these colors out. So this was my main color, and so I wanted to get colors that would complement this, but they shared a secret that when you're trying to make a high contrast color work situation like the shift, you want your colors to kind of not go together so that they can all really shine in the project. So what we ended up going with was this beautiful like magenta-y pink situation and this forest green color. It's more green in person. It's showing very blue on camera. Let me see if I can hold all of these. So all of these colors together are going to be my shift. And I'm really excited, and these are not colors that I would pair together. I think they look really good separately, but together I'm kind of like, I don't know. Yes, I see the vision, but picking the neon pinks out of this and pairing them with these colors is just really something that I've never thought to do before. So I'm really excited to see how that works up. So I got those, and the pink and the green yarn I didn't mention are Juniper Moon Farm yarns. They are 100% wool. They do have a rougher texture to them. I like the woolly wool feel, just me personally. And they're the color Juniper is the green, and Thistle is the pink. So that is that brand. Super cute. They had so many colors of it, and I loved it absolutely. Also from that store, which I didn't go to get a lot of yarn. I was just kind of going in to get like my little souvenir skein because we were traveling and I like to do that. But I saw this shift and it was just too good. So then I got another variegated skein of the hand spun yarn, and this is also Feederbrook Farm, and it is the color Joel in their DK weight as well. Let me get those colors in there. Super, super pretty. Love the colors in it. Just that hand spun look always gets me. Like, it's just so, so good. It's so good. I love it. And this has, I didn't mention it with the other one, but it's 260 yards. So if you've been looking at the Dyed in the Wool spin cycle yarn, this has more yardage in it for a very similar price. I got another skein of the 100% wool, and this one is in the color Mustard, and I love this color as well. I thought about including all the colors in the same project, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do that. So for my souvenir skein, I ended up getting this little tiny mini that they had. This is from a local to them dyer, and it was a part of the, I guess, Western North Carolina yarn crawl, which I did not know was a thing, but this is a colorway called The Mountains Are Calling, which was super fitting because it was a hiking trip, so I picked that up to add to a souvenir type project. That was everything that I got from my mountain trip, and again, I was planning to just get the tiny little souvenir skein, but ended up being talked into a lot of beautiful yarn, and I'm really excited to have it and to be able to make something with it because, like I said, I've always wanted to make projects with that hand spun yarn, but I've never known what to do with it, and I have some on my shelf now and I haven't known what to do with it, so it's kind of been living there and being pretty on its own, but definitely making that into a project is a much better use of it. The next bit of yarn that I have to show you today is from Ruby and Roses. This is a sock set in her sock weight yarn, and it's called Promenade is this purple one, and Laminaire, I believe is how you say it. Here's the little tag for it, is the contrast green, which I love this green. I think I'm gonna get some more of it because it's just so pretty. But this sock set is going to be socks, but I think they're going to be crochet socks, which I'm really excited about. And Ruby Roses is a new to me dyer. I've only recently discovered her work and it's absolutely beautiful. I love it. I have a couple other skeins that I've gotten from her, but I've started projects with those. I absolutely love her yarns, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what she comes out for her fall and winter collections, and it's just really beautiful. And if you haven't checked her out yet, you definitely should. She's great. Last little bit of yarn I have to show you is from a yarn company, an online yarn company called Sardar Yarns. And I just came out with a new wool blend yarn, and I'm excited to be sharing that with you. So this is their new line of jewel spun yarn, and it is a blend yarn of wool and it's a blend yarn of wool and acrylic. So let me get those stats for you. So it is 80% acrylic, 20% wool. And you can see all these beautiful colors. It is a single ply. It's got a really nice halo on it. Absolutely stunning. I love these colors. I'm working on some new hat patterns, and this is going to be perfect for that. This particular color is called Precious. It's super, super pretty. And there are currently 5 colors in this line of yarn, and I'm gonna make hats with all of them, and I'm so excited. This is the next color. It's really beautiful blues. And this other one, very similar, that bluey green purple. So this one is Sea Glass, and the yardage for them is, let's see. And there are 328 yards per ball, so you get quite a bit of yarn in each one. And this greener one is called Emerald. So Sea Glass and Emerald, super, super pretty again. I think this one is probably my favorite. It's like a rainbow of all different colors, and this one is called Purl. And I can't wait to work them up and have little swatches of them because they're so pretty. They're so squishy too, and I love that. And then last but not least is this more reddish blue-green, and that is in the color Topaz. So I'm not sure if they're coming out with any more colors in these, but I'm loving these so far. And these were gifted to me to be able to make some patterns with for yarn support, but I have used this jewel spun line before in their thinner yarn, so this one is their chunky base, and have loved it. So I'm really, really excited to get going on working with those. It's gonna be super fun, and I'm excited to share that. So last but not least, things that I am watching and or reading. I've been watching recently is Gilmore Girls. I've never watched it before. The times that I've tried to watch it before, I've not really enjoyed it. But this time through, I'm really, really liking it. I'm liking the characters a lot more, and just the whole storyline as a whole. And it's so cozy and easy to watch while knitting or crocheting, so I've been enjoying that. I also recently just watched the movie Us. It's a, I guess, horror thriller, and it was scary at first, but then the ending, I was kind of like, I don't know. If you've watched it, let me know what you think about it down below. But that's mostly what I've been watching. I'm a sucker for reality TV. So I got caught up on Love is Blind. the newest season, which I didn't really care for that much. I've been seeing so much drama about it on TikTok and as more things have come out about everybody, but it was just, it seemed so forced this season and like scripted and like very obviously tailored with, which is fine, it's reality TV, they can do, you know, whatever with it, but that's how I felt watching it. And reading, I've been reading a bunch of different Kindle Unlimited books, but my physical book that I've been reading recently is The Bone Shard Daughter. It's good so far. I'm using a hairband as a bookmark, so that's just what I had, but I haven't gotten crazy far in, but it's really good so far, and I've heard good things. And on the front, where is it? Here, Sarah J. Maas reviewed it and said it was an excellent book, so I'm going off of that because she knows all things. But yeah, that's what I'm working on, or that's what I'm reading right now, and I'm enjoying it so far and hoping to make more progress on my physical books. But yeah, thank you so much if you've made it this far, for watching everything, for watching me talk about the projects and the yarn that I'm working with right now. I'm not sure what my posting schedule will be, if it'll be bi-weekly or every week. I'll just have to see how my schedule goes with school and work and all that fun stuff. But thank you again so much for joining me. I'm so glad to be bringing this to you, and I hope you have a great day or night whenever you are watching. See you.